Alright, it's December 9th, so I wanted to make another tank update, mainly for myself so I can go back and see how things looked and changed. I missed November, forgot, but it's okay, not a lot changes. Moved that toxic hammer coral up to the front. This mushroom's really starting to, if it'll focus, take off. And the acros are getting bigger. Got the flow configuration. Think where I'd keep it, but who knows? I seem to keep changing it and can never decide if I have too much or not enough flow. Let's see, got the milli. Just go through a lot of the acros. I moved that guy up there. He wasn't doing too well, and he's been looking a lot better. Same with the one on the left that's in focus. Those two are not doing good, and when I moved them up higher to more light, they've been doing really well. This guy is looking good. I think it's orange creamsicle. When I first got it, it was like white. I think it was getting a lot of light. I wasn't sure if it was going to make it, but once it adjusted, it's looking pretty good. Had this coral since March, and it has not changed. I've moved it around a bunch, but I cannot get this coral to grow, which is fine, but it's just interesting. This guy wasn't doing too well. He still isn't growing either. It's the Jason Fox, I forget. It's common coral, but we'll see if that new spot gets some liking. This is the Matte V Rainbow Envy, and I got a tiny little piece of it, but it's encrusting and starting to grow, so I'm excited that it's doing its thing and made it. It was a very small piece. That Millipora that's just kind of stuck on that rock, I put it there for now. I'll probably move it, but just to see if it likes more light. It was lower and not doing well. I got this at the same time as this green guy, and you can see, it's obviously loving life and taking off. That's the Vivid Rainbow. Pretty cool. Behind it, there's a white coral. It probably isn't going to focus. I'm bummed out. That's the Cherry Bomb, and pretty sure it's dead. My issue was I had him down here next to this Millipora, and I think that MP40 was blasting it with flow because I could see the side next to the flow was not doing good, so I moved it hoping to give it less flow, but it just was too far gone. But that's why reefing ain't easy. Again, I can't remember if this is the Dan Aykroyd or the Bill Murray. It's one of them, and this is the other one. They look the same kind of right now as they're small, so one day I'll look it up. This guy has been taken off. I saw no polyp extension, and now this thing is just crazy polyp extension relative to my other corals. If it'll focus on this side, this is where it really gets a lot of polyp extension. And you can see it's kind of curved. I think it's because it gets blasted with flow from this side, the way the rocks are and stuff, and it kind of leans towards the right, but tons of polyp extension on that guy. No polyp extension there. My Walt Disney has gone through a lot of changes. You can see the little nub on the right. I cut that off, and man, that is the fastest growing part of the coral. The rest of it isn't growing, and it's a lot easier to see in person, but the tips right now are white. And what happened was I did a water change, like 45 gallons, and I did it differently than I normally do, where I took it out of the display rather than the sump, and the water went down. And I'd never done that before and wasn't thinking, and I think I needed to dim my lights or turn them off because it got blasted. Plus it was exposed to air, so hopefully it doesn't die. If it gets any worse, I'm going to give it some time. I'll probably start nipping the ends just to get rid of the whiteness, but I think it's going to be alright. I've been learning. This thing was so colorful, and then the colors kind of went away, and I'm pretty sure it's because I adjusted my nitrates. I was playing around with things and tried to do the Redfield ratio just to see what would happen, but I've learned my corals, at least the Walt Disney, 5 to 10 nitrates in my tank. Everybody's tank is going to be different, so I wouldn't do that just because I said it, because your tank, it might do something totally different. But that's when I got the best colors. On the other side though, this Vivid Rainbow will turn a lot paler and lose a lot of its colors. So interesting. I moved that Acan into the shadows because I get about 400 par at the top and 200 at the bottom, and I didn't want to blast him, but I think he's a little too much in the shadows. Where'd he go? And I need to get him out of the shadows, but that's for another day. My shrimp molts like once every week or two. It's insane, that one. The others don't ever, but that guy is just a molten beast. Finally starting to get some growth here. I don't know if too much flow or what, but this is like some kind of Millipora rainbow, but he's starting to grow. I moved the guy, so I moved around. This is, I think it's a Pikachu or something. I moved him up there, and he was down here. And then I put the coral that was in his place down here, which he is looking like he's gonna die. It really wasn't doing anything. This one behind it, it's not a name one, I think it's a mariculture, so yeah, I'm pretty sure he's dead now. That only took, well, that was Sunday, 3 or 4 days, so interesting. We'll see though. That's another Millipora kind of rainbow deal. Hasn't been doing much, but it is encrusting, so I didn't move it. This rock has got zoas on zoas. Literally, this nub over here is zoas on zoas. There's no rock underneath it. It's like zoas growing over zoas. It's crazy. You can see it's like it kind of floats, and I'm sure I could just tear it off. Because it's an isolated rock, they have nowhere to go. So I mean, it's just starting to grow on top of each other. Zoas, yeah, they are good growers. I need to frag up this whole rock, frag up this rock. I want to start fragging and selling a bunch of corals if anybody's interested. I made a video about keeping that Gonopora, gluing a frag down there, but the flow just moves it around, and when it hits the other corals, it gets into a fight and like hurts it. So I kind of wedged him in that little slot there, and so far so good. I've had great luck with Gonnies. This guy is been growing steady. Loving life. He was a little frag when I started it, and then yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Just a purple chalice, still big, huge, strong, still growing. You can see the ends where it's green. It's just reaching out. Same with this guy. I'm sure I'll be bigger next time. The Duncan here made another head on the left. My acro here, this guy was not looking good. Lost a lot of its color. The ends were dying, so I cut them off because I didn't want it to continue to go, but it looks like there's some hope it's coming back. This guy's getting some color. I had one way down here and it wasn't doing anything, and I moved it up right here, and we'll see what happens. More light, kind of put them on an angle so half of it would get a light and the other half wouldn't, just in case it was too much light. But I've learned you got to kind of move them around if they're not doing good and find a happy spot for them. I've moved this Orange Passion 3 times. Luckily it hasn't died, but it has not changed since I got it. So kind of put it at an angle, hoping to get some growth, something going on. It looks like it is actually starting to encrust, which is good, but really like that coral and wish I could get it to grow. That is the lemonade, or what? It's a common coral. Well, anyway, kept falling off the rock. I did a bad glue job, so I kept finding him like under the rocks, and it would be almost white. It looked like it was dead, and it comes back. So super healthy, strong grower. Underneath right there is the part of the Walt Disney I fragged and kind of glued at an angle. It was this far right nub. Clip that off and you can see that nub is growing like crazy. And then this is the Death Grimace. Probably botched the name. It's my most expensive coral. That and the Matte V Rainbow Envy, and it wasn't doing too good when I got it. It looks like it's encrusting, it's alive, hasn't gotten its colors back. I think it's getting too much flow on the left, but gonna give it some time. Really hope that guy grows strong and does his thing, because it's supposed to be a spectacular coral. We'll see. I moved this Rainbow Envy here. He was down here and was just getting blasted by this MP40, so one side was hurt. You can see I had this other frag. You can't even see it, looks like a dead rock because it is dead. It's a Voodoo Magic. So I didn't want that to happen. I moved him over here. I think he'll like it a lot more. And then I've got, I think this is Shock Tart. That guy's encrusted and doing well. Great pulp extension. Really actually surprised me. I like that coral a lot. And yeah, I think that's all of them. Got like a Cherry Tree Montipora. Doesn't do much, but when I got it, it was on the brink of death, so at least it's not dead. And every time I think I'm done, I remember there's another coral to go over. There isn't much over here. I moved a lot of the stuff that was in the back to the front. Yeah, again, these videos are mostly for me, but it'll be cool. I'll make a montage, you know, hopefully if I can keep it all going for a few years, just month by month, showing how it changed, so people can get a realistic idea. Because I tell you what, reefing is not easy.